Image copyright Charlie Crowhurst. Image caption: A large part of Ladbrokes sports funding goes to horse racing. The UK's biggest bookmaker, Ladbrokes Coral, says it will have to cut the 8 meters it spends each year on sponsoring sports events if new rules reduce the maximum stake on gaming machines. The government is currently deciding whether to cut maximum stakes on fixed odds betting terminals from 100 to as little as 2 to fight problem gambling. More than half of Ladbrokes betting shop revenue comes via the machines. Ladbrokes says such a dramatic drop in income means cuts are made elsewhere. Sponsorship. Almost 3.5 meters of the company's sports sponsorship is dedicated to horse racing. This includes the Ladbrokes Winter Carnival, a 2-day meeting at Newbury, the Coral Scottish and Welsh Grand Nationals, the Coral Cup, Wednesday at Cheltenham, the Coral Eclipse, one of the biggest flat races of the year, and the Coral Sprint at York. It also sponsors the Rugby Football League Challenge Cup and the Scottish Professional Football League, as well as snooker and darts. Image copyright Getty Images. Image caption: Ladbrokes sponsorship of the Rugby League's Ladbrokes Challenge Cup means it gets prominent promotion, including having its ribbons on the trophy. Ladbrokes said, "A severe stake cut has many implications, not least on jobs, the treasury and the sports we support. Sports sponsorship is a two-way street. Yes, we get exposure, but it also helps sports finance their entire structures right down to grassroots funding." Quote, "The company suggested that horse racing was less vulnerable to potential sponsorship cuts than other sports. It said, horse racing is in the bookie DNA and some sponsorships and partnerships go back many years and have a history and association that make them very valuable and high on the list to continue." Quote, William Hill also says that its 1-meter sponsorship of horse racing could be at risk if the stake on FOBTs was set too low. Horse racing. The possibility of losing sponsorship is yet another headache for horse racing, which fears that anything that hurts high street bookmakers could reduce its funding. Racing Post editor Bruce Millington said, "No one likes the fact that the horse racing industry is a hostage to a whole load of high-octane fruit machines, but there's little question that a 2 limit would have significant implications." Quote, "Sponsorship is just one of the ways the sport is funded by bookmakers." Image copyright Getty Images. Image caption: Horse racing bets and media screening rights also raise money for the sport. A 10% levy on bets. Horse racing bets contributes about 50 meters, which is managed and distributed by the Horse Race Levy Betting Board as prize money to improve and support racecourses and invest in equine veterinary science. This used to come from bets placed in shops, but last year it was expanded to include online and offshore revenue. As a result, it is expected to double this year, and the impact of any potential shop closures on it is disputed. The Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport said gambling was one of many ways in which sports obtain fundraising. "We are clear that FOBT stakes will be cut to ensure we have a safe and sustainable industry where vulnerable people are protected," it said in a statement. The department said a final decision on maximum bets will be made in due course. Screen rights. A much larger loss of money for horse racing is likely come in the area of media rights. Each betting shop pays about $30,000 a year to the industry to screen their races. If curbing FOBTs leads to a reduction in the number of shops, as the bookmakers say, then that would mean there would be fewer screens and therefore fewer buyers for the events. The Association of British Bookmakers says that cutting the stake on FOBTs to 2 could lead to 500 shop closures, and that would mean 290 meters in lost levy and media rights payments for racing.